everyone. Thanks for coming. Today is the Learning the Talk series, session 3. We're talking about calling around a listing and a sale. And this training event is pretty much to get you excited and oriented to providing information to the neighbors of a particular listing. I want to get you to feel comfortable reaching out to people, providing them with valuable information regarding the other listings in their area, and as a result, potentially getting some business out of it as well. So this is important information that we're calling our neighbors about. It's important, if you're calling around the sale, it's important to let people know that, okay, there's a new neighbor in town, maybe you should go introduce yourself, get to know them, get to meet them, drop off a little casserole of some sort, go through all that stuff. Tell them that their neighbor's home is on the market. This is very important because you want to inform them that there's going to be increased traffic in the area, but you're also going to let them know that there's actually real estate market activity. People want to know exactly what's going on with their neighborhood, because the value of their home, the value of that home that ultimately sells, will reflect the value of their own home. So it's critical information, and people are very, very receptive and definitely consider that important information. So this should be part of your marketing strategy for your listings as well. So one thing that you're going to be telling people on your listing presentations that you go to is you are going to be informing the neighbors that their home is going to be on the market. You're going to be sending them postcards as well. And the purpose of this is to capitalize on their network. Remember, your job as the listing agent is to get their property exposed to as many people possible in a short amount of time. So that includes the agents in your office, your local network, but also we can capitalize and take advantage of the other neighbors, and because people know of people who are going to be interested in moving to the area, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, et cetera, et cetera. Also, in addition to that, it's a well-known fact that when one home in a market actually goes on the market, that in some cases 1, 2, sometimes even 3 other homes will go on the market right around the same time. So, it's your job, and ultimately, if you get to start talking to people on the phone, letting them know that, there's a home on the market, that might spark some information that might spark a chord in their minds to actually get them thinking about selling real estate and getting another listing out of it. It can be your listing, or it can be other listings. Ultimately, you want to try to be as familiar with the home as possible. So if it's possible to pre-screen a listing, do so, whether it's a broker tour, whether it's just a personal showing, where you're just going on your own, or even if you have a client for it. If it's a new listing, try to get out to the property, at least do a drive-by. If you can't do any of those, at least have a listing sheet, because when you do get on the phone, the people that you're talking to will be asking questions about what the square footage is, what's in the neighborhood, which house is that. You want to kind of know which color it is, obviously, because people will think of that. Hey, it's a yellow house. It's the 2-car garage. The nice bushes in front. So you want to kind of let them know, and it makes you look more familiar and more attached to the property. So in some cases, you'll even get showing requests. Neighbors actually do like to check out neighbors' homes, and whether they're interested in buying or not, hey, it's another person that you can have a conversation with. Start adding them to your sphere of influence and farming them for either a listing down the road, or who knows, they might actually be interested in moving from one house to the next one in that area. When you are calling around the listing, or when you're calling around the sale, or for any reason, try not to give out names unless you have prior written consent. It doesn't look very good if you're, okay, yes, it's important, this person just moved, this home just sold, but remember, it's not about who it is. You're calling them to let them know about the price, and you don't want to give out confidential information. Now, obviously, people, if they're really interested, they can go to the public records, but you don't want to be the one associated with that. If it is a listing or sale that's in the office, touch base with the person who has the listing. Make sure that they're not calling around doing the same. However, if it's a listing from another office that you're calling around, say a Century 21's or a Coldwell Banker or a Kaiser something, you can just go ahead. And more likely than not, those other agents probably aren't doing it. So it's another way to get in front of people, and they're missing out on the opportunity, and you're essentially capitalizing. Ideally, like I said, add this to your marketing strategy, add this as a selling point to your listing presentation. Anytime you get a listing or anytime you have a sale, always make sure that you are calling around it. Again, just to let people know that you're in the area, let them know that you're in real estate, and let them be the face, be the point of contact for all of their real estate needs. And then follow up with postcards, and if you do have a good conversation, of course, always business cards and a handwritten note are always valuable as well. So that's a little bit about what calling around the listing, calling around the sale is. We have a couple scripts here, and remember, it's not just necessarily calling around the listing or calling around the sale. You can call around a price adjustment. You can call around an open house. In fact, open houses is a great way to get the neighborhood involved, because it's an opportunity to get them in through the public, because it makes the open house, even though they might not necessarily be interested, you should always encourage them to go to it, because that way it looks like there's more activity at the open house, which can instill an active urgency for the buyers who are going through at that time. So we got a couple scripts. This first one here is just calling around the listing. So basically the key lines that you want to ask here is, after you pick it up, your neighbor's home just listed the market. It's on the market for $595,000. It's that yellow house with the 2-car garage down on the corner. You may be expecting a little bit of increased traffic over the next couple of weeks because of this. So if you see some cars on the lawn, don't freak out. It's just the listing activity. And then always, of course, ask, do you know of anyone who might be interested in moving to the area? Are you considering selling down the road? Et cetera, et cetera. Same thing with a sale. Again, the key things, you're letting them know that 123 Main Street just sold. It sold for $450,000. Make sure you welcome your neighbors. Feel free to drop by when you get a chance. They're good people. What do you think of the price? Now, this is a great way, because if it's a buzzword, because it'll get them to start thinking about, oh, wait a minute, that's a lot more than we were expecting. Maybe now's a good time to sell, or maybe it was a little bit less than what they expected, so maybe we should consider buying some investment property. So another way, again, you're informing them, and of course always follow up, ask them whether they're thinking about buying or selling real estate as well, or know of anyone. Calling around an open house. There's going to be an open house at 123 Main Street from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock on Sunday. Feel free to drop by. In some cases, guys, what you can do is you can even potentially host a VIP open house, and that's basically a pre-open house where it's an hour before, where you can get all of your clients, all of the neighbors in, to again sort of give them a little bit more excitement, give them some energy to drop by and swing by. So again, like I said, the key as a listing agent is to try to get as much activity as possible through the house. So it's another sort of above and beyond way of doing that. So again, do you know of anyone who might like to attend this open house? Well, again, you're reminding them that there might be a little bit of increased traffic in the area. So feel free to stop by if you have any time, and of course, again, ask if anyone's buying or selling. And then if you're doing this, you can call right when a home is listed. Then you can call the same people when there's an open house. And then if the property sits on the market, then you could potentially wind up seeing some price adjustments. Again, that's another reason to go out and call the neighbors. Remember we were talking about that listing at 34 Main Street? Well, it was just reduced from $500,000 down to $450,000. So it's an exciting price. It's an impact price. We're thinking that it's going to move quick. So if you know of anyone who's thinking about buying or selling, let's get them in quickly. Again, if you're interested as well, feel free to swing by. Again, you're constantly reminding them, that you're in real estate. And then ultimately, after the price adjustment, once it finally does ultimately go under agreement, that's a fourth time, potentially even more than that, if there's multiple price adjustments, if there's multiple open houses that you can, get put in contact in a short amount of time. Again, great way to get in front of people and ultimately, try to get some listings. So that concludes the training for today. Thank you very much all for listening.
I got a question for you.
Sure.